In 2023, I travelled to the Indonesian island of Sumatra in search of its incredible biodiversity. While venturing into Sumatra's last remaining forests, I encountered an array of beautiful and bizarre species. Some are the most unique and mighty of their kind, while others are found nowhere else on Earth. And some are among the most endangered species that exist today. This is Sumatra. It was time to leave the lively village of Bukit Lawang and embark on an 8-hour drive north to access the heart of the Losa National Park. On the way, we passed the ominous Mount Sinabung, an active volcano which last erupted in 2021. This eruption decimated the nearby village, and seeing the ruins from this disaster emphasized just how powerful nature can be. I had arrived at my destination in the province of Aceh, where this remote, peaceful village was already boasting incredible biodiversity. Situated deep within the national park, this would be my gateway into Sumatra's most pristine rainforest. This forest is renowned for the critically endangered Sumatran orangutan, but my mission was to document the lesser-known species, which are just as dependent on this precious habitat. Hiking through the last remaining primary rainforests on the island is utterly tranquil, and I was absolutely immersed. Life was revealing itself in a multitude of ways, including what appears to be the nest entrance of stingless bees in the Tetragonula genus. This nest structure is built from a mixture of plant debris, the bees' saliva, and waxy secretions from glands on the bodies of the bees. Local people farm these bees for their honey, which I was able to witness before heading into the forest. Each one of these spherical pods contains delicious honey, which tastes slightly more bitter than what is produced by the more familiar European honeybee, Apis mellifera. Scuttling shapes above caught my eye as black-bearded gliding lizards, Draco melanopogon, darted around the tree trunks. This one appears to be female, lacking the striking black dewlap on its throat, a flag-like structure that these lizards use to communicate. Soon enough, a male appeared and put on quite a display, showing how the species got its name. When motionless, they can be tricky to spot due to their mossy green coloration, which blends in beautifully with their surroundings. I would occasionally see them gliding from one tree to the next, using extendable flaps of skin on their flanks, known as patagia. Although they aren't capable of true flight, they can potentially glide over 50 meters through the forest to escape predators and to find new territories. Quite a feat for a lizard just over 20 centimeters in length. A glorious roaring river greeted us as we arrived at our camp. and I was already falling victim to some jungle parasites such as this leech. Leeches are annelid worms, which mostly feed on blood. To feed on blood, they make an incision into the skin of the host, using a mouth lined with rows of sharp, tooth-like structures. Many leech species produce a local anesthetic to prevent being detected by the host, and an anticoagulant to prevent the host's blood from clotting. This would be the first of many that I would find on my body. As the dusk approached, I couldn't believe my eyes when one of my main target species was spotted on the edge of camp. A Sumatran palm viper, Craspedocephalus andalucensis, was preparing for a night of hunting as it took up this vertical ambush position on a fallen tree. What an incredible sight! I was absolutely in awe as marbled eyes glared back at me with black slit pupils.
So we've just been hiking in northern Sumatra and we've come across a snake that I was really hoping to see. This little viper here is a Sumatran palm viper and it's absolutely exquisite. It looks very similar to the eyelash vipers of Central America, and perhaps this is an example of convergent evolution where both species have evolved similar traits to live in a tropical forest and therefore have turned out to be similar.
The snake briefly gaped to realign its jaw. Another common name is the Sumatran leaf-nosed viper, referring to the leaf-like projections above its nose, which aids its camouflage.
As my guide was saying, this snake can be dangerous when you're walking over logs in the forest, as they like to take up positions like this, places where you might put your hands or your feet to climb over the log. But luckily that didn't happen to us and we can enjoy it in situ and take some photographs.
Virtually nothing is known about the venom of this species, and I certainly didn't want to be the first person to discover its potency firsthand. As you can see, the viper is quite relaxed, as I haven't attempted to handle it. Venom is biologically expensive for snakes to produce, and so they prioritize their venom for killing their prey. They tend to use it in defense when they are provoked and they can't escape.
I should also mention that it's only found on the island of Sumatra, which is why I wanted to find it so badly. It's always great when you find endemic species.
I believe this is a male, due to its slender build and small size, as well as the limited photographs I could find for comparison. Females are much larger, growing to around 1 meter in length. It's not just me that has to deal with jungle parasites, as this image shows a mosquito drinking the viper's blood right in front of its eye.
So I think we'll take some photos of it in nature and then we'll continue with the hike and leave it as it is. It looks like it's waiting for prey to pass on the log, perhaps a lizard or a mouse or something similar. But yeah, amazing find here in northern Sumatra.
This is a species that few herpetologists have laid their eyes on in the wild, and I feel extremely grateful. As we continued our hike through the night, an array of fantastic invertebrates were on display, including this elaborate lantern bug, Pyrops ruli. It feeds by sucking sap from trees, sometimes in groups. There's around 70 species in the genus Pyrops, and this one appears to be unique to Sumatra and Malaysia. The familiar Dinomyrmex gigas, one of the world's largest ant species, was on the move, as well as impressive longhorn beetles in the family Cerambicidae, and this charismatic tree frog, which appears to be Polybidates lusomastix. It had just woken up. Suddenly, we were alerted to a striking splash of black and white in the foliage. I soon realised this was the scaled figure of a Malayan slug snake, Sphenodipsas malacana, boasting a gorgeous iridescence on its head. It perched in the foliage next to some mushrooms, holding itself in place with a prehensile tail. This beautiful little snake is in the Paraidae, a family of snakes that specialise in eating terrestrial mollusks, such as slugs and snails. Snakes in the Paraidae family have evolved asymmetrical jaws, often with more teeth on the lower mandible. This is a design to extract a snail from its shell, and it's thought that this irregular jaw was key in the radiation of mollusk-eating snake species in Southeast Asia. The Malayan slug snake appears to have more symmetrical jaws compared to its cousins due to its preference for eating slugs, which lack a shell. These snakes tend to be small in size and harmless to people. Then I was lucky to find a close relative, the smooth slug snake, Sphenodipsas laevis, which appears to be more elusive in Sumatra according to records. It was found in a similar position, in low foliage above the ground. On the way back to camp, another elongated figure caught my eye, but this creature's body was adorned with armoured plates instead of scales, as well as more than 20 pairs of legs. It was a large Scolopendra centipede, a ferocious predator of the undergrowth. In addition to hunting other invertebrates, they are even capable of taking down small vertebrates, such as the slug-eating snakes we had just seen. When they grab their prey, venom is injected through sharpened modified legs near the mouth, known as forcipules. Due to their weaponry evolving from legs rather than mouth parts, an envenomation from a centipede is classed as a sting rather than a bite. This centipede is around 7 inches long, and a stern reminder to watch where I put my hands while walking in this jungle. The next morning, we headed out in hope of finding diurnal reptiles. An abundant yet exquisite little lizard in this forest is the Phaniotis acutirostris, commonly known as the Indonesian earless agama. It is only found in Indonesia and lacks external ear openings, hence the name. The species name, acutirostris, translates to sharpened nose, referring to the horn-like projection on the tip of its snout. This is a male, with a prominent nose and green stripes on its flanks. Sumatra's high volcanic activity has formed many steaming hot springs throughout the island. The water that emerges from these hot springs is geothermically heated by shallow magma bodies in the crust layer of our planet. This can create a dramatic temperature gradient in water bodies, such as this river, which people use as a natural hot tub. However, care must be taken, as areas of water near the source of the spring can be close to boiling temperatures. My guide informed me of some tourists being severely burned after accidentally entering the danger zone. As I cooled off downstream from the hot spring, stunning butterflies started to land on my sweaty clothes to extract salts. In addition to my sweat, butterflies were collecting mineral salts all around me on the wet ground. It's mostly the males that do this, as mineral salts enhance fertility when mating. This behaviour is known as puddling. I soon realised we were in the presence of one of the world's most impressive arachnids.
We were just cooling off at a hot spring in the jungle here after a pretty difficult hike. And we just come across this amazing arachnid right here. This is Nephila, which is a genus of golden orb weavers. They're among the largest orb weaving spiders in the world. They make huge webs that can be 2 meters across and strong enough to catch vertebrates such as birds. And you can see next to my hand how big this spider is. An amazing beast. We often see them high up, so we can't reach them usually, but this one is head height, which is great.
After some interaction with this magnificent spider, it was time to head back to camp to rest up before heading out again in the evening. After a camp-cooked dinner, our evening search began with an even larger Nephila. This huge female had a much larger abdomen, which was probably full of eggs, after mating with the diminutive male, which can be a tenth of her size. Our evening hike was full of extraordinary life. Including this majestic Asian forest scorpion, Heterometrus spinifer. Scorpions in the Heterometrus genus are among the largest scorpions in the world, and this individual was the size of my hand. They roam the forest floor at night, hunting invertebrates and even small vertebrates with those powerful claws, which are technically known as chela. If its prey puts up a good fight, then they use their immense stinger to inject venom and subdue their victim further. Asian forest scorpions have been kept in the pet trade for many years, and observing this one in the wild was a joyous moment. Suddenly, the voice of a charming call could be heard above the trickle of a nearby stream. When I caught a glimpse of the culprit, I was absolutely astounded. Meet the splendid stream frog, Pulchrana fantastica, a rather fitting name based on its appearance and where it was found. This glorious amphibian has only been known to science in recent years, thanks to herpetologist Umalela Arifin and her colleagues describing it in 2018. It is endemic to Sumatra and, according to this study, is only known to occur in the provinces of Aceh and North Sumatra. The conservation status of this relatively new species is not well known, but it is likely as vulnerable to the loss of primary rainforest as the more familiar endangered species such as the Sumatran orangutan, elephant, tiger and rhino, as it has only been found in protected forests. This is what I travelled to Sumatra for, to film the lesser-known species of the Losa ecosystem in order to raise awareness of their existence and vulnerability. Over 50% of Sumatra's rainforest has been lost in the past 40 years, making protected areas such as the Losa National Park more important than ever before. In the next episode, I'll be continuing this exploration of Aceh in search of reptiles, amphibians, and invertebrates.